a sense that, again, it comes back to it. There's a fear, and it's a fear that a farmer has at the end of the day, that a year, 4 or 5 years down the line, the entire process of procurement of food grains will get corporatized. That this is the first step towards it. And that could, particularly for the small and marginal farmer, leave him almost in a situation where he is dependent on these corporates.
And also, please ask, do we believe Mr. Gadkari or should we believe Mr. Tomar?
Okay. Go ahead, Nalin, respond.
I think this is a new way of looking at it. I personally respect Mr. Jharkhar. I know him also, and I respect the family and their contribution to the Indian to development in India. But I think that's also not correct. I mean, now are we saying, is Sunil Jharkhar ji suggesting that Mr. Gadkari can't have a point of view? So Article 19 applies to the Congress leadership. It doesn't apply to anybody in the BJP. Well, let's go back to the law. Where does this act anyway say that it's dismantling the APMC or MSP? And then the proof of the pudding is in eating it. Agricultural budget was 25 to 30,000 crores when Prime Minister Modi came in 14. Today it is almost 1,50,000 crores. 10 crore farmers have received 94,000 crores in terms of the transfer under Kisan directly into account. The MSP has gone up for rice, for soya bean, for wheat, for pulses. Hing is not even grown in this country. Can you believe it? Asafoetida, we import 750 crores of it every year, 1,200 tons, and it comes from Iran, Afghanistan, and Uzbekistan. India couldn't even do cultivation of asafoetida. Now, finally, we are looking that we should cultivate it in the high reaches of whether it's Laol, Spiti, or whether it is in Ladakh. I mean, it's easy to sit down and give a lot of gyan, which is what the Congress party does, without looking at the performance or the track record of a government. Prime Minister Modi's government is a government that performs. What they are doing is trying to create a constitutional crisis because an act of parliament of constitution. What they are doing is purposely creating a situation which, in my estimate, and I'm sure Siddharth Luthra ji will probably expand as a senior lawyer, is that they are trying to create a situation that something comes in the court, and as we say, that humne to koshish kiya.
Let me turn to Mr. Luthra. Nalin Kohli, let me turn to Mr. Luthra. Siddharth Luthra, are we heading for a constitutional crisis if all the Congress-ruled states decide to amend the farm laws and bring in their own farm laws? Because agriculture markets and lands, Mr. Luthra, are state subjects under entries 14, 18 and 22 of the 7th schedule of the Constitution. Therefore, the states can frame laws covering them. The centre has introduced the farm reform bills under entry 33 of the concurrent list that allows the central governments to frame laws on the control of production, supply and distribution of products of any industry, including agriculture. How do you see this? Can states independently of the centre frame their own laws or amend central laws, or will they now need necessarily presidential assent?
I must tell you, Rajiv, the position is very well settled. The Constitution provides under Article 246 that while each legislature has its own domain, in the event of a conflict, it is very clear that to the extent that there is an overlap, the central law will prevail, and that's the fundamental constitutional principle. Having said that, even if the state law gets presidential assent, we will have to put it to what we call in law the pith and substance test. Is there an overlap? And to the extent that there is an overlap, the state law will have to give way to the central law. Today you have a situation, though the central law has come under the concurrent list, the central law is in existence. We are reaching, unfortunately, I believe, a situation of constitutional indiscipline where legislatures are not respecting each other's domains and jurisdictions. Of course, these matters will at some point be taken up in court by one party or the other. But I think it is more important that the language of the Constitution is so clear. It's been settled not once but a million times. And today what's happening is...
But Mr. Luthra, agriculture markets and lands are state subjects. Are you telling me that the Punjab Assembly, Rajasthan Assembly, Chhattisgarh Assembly, Maharashtra Assembly cannot frame their own amended laws?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that to the extent that it is covered by a law which is framed by the center, the overlap will not work, and that is what has to be seen if there's an overlap. Because if you look at Article 246, it's very clear. Legislature can make power, but subject to 1 and 3 of 246. Sub-Article 2 of 246 says Parliament has the power to make laws. Now the whole point here is Parliament has made a law. Legislature has its own laws. Now, one aspect is if they both operate in different domains, they will coexist if they operate parallelly. But if there is an overlap, then the central law will prevail. And there is, of course, as you rightly said earlier, there is also the issue of the presidential assent that will be required if necessary. So these are issues which will have to be seen.
Right.
And the concern that I believe is, as you had pointed out, that this matter eventually is heading towards court. I don't think it's a constitutional crisis, but definitely it's going to land up in court, and the ultimate victim or the ultimate loss will be to the poor farmer, because if parallel mechanisms exist, whether it is one or the other, we can't have the MSP going away, as has been pointed out by you very clearly. So therefore, even if the laws have been brought in by the center, there has to be a mechanism for ensuring that the whole purpose of agriculture is not lost on one-upmanship.